I've pulled all-nighters, sweating bets. I've skipped appointments and missed assignments. I've bet money I didn't have. I've wasted time I'll never get back. All of my remaining bankroll was on this game. It was a different time and a different me.
With 6 seconds, Calderon. Whoa. Calderon with 4. He's going to fire to win the game. Calderon buries a 3, and there's .2 remaining.
No, it's over.
Sports betting is a challenge even for those who do it well, and it can be far worse for those who don't. I've been both, and I've seen it from just about every side imaginable. But ultimately, I've had enough. And for those of you who think you may have had enough, maybe my story will give you some clarity. So in this video, I'll talk about how I beat the game, why I'm now done, and the lessons to extract from this admittedly ridiculous journey. This improbable buzzer-beating 3 was my rock bottom. It caused me to realize all that I was doing wrong. Financially, logically, emotionally. I couldn't bet anymore. It was almost like I couldn't think anymore. I felt completely hopeless. And ultimately, that turned out to be a good thing. Fast forward to the end of 2023, where I'm quitting again, sitting here after 6 months of not making a single bet. It feels surreal to actually be leaving this game on a high, having succeeded far more than I had ever dreamed of. Success was far from inevitable. A lot had to go exactly right to even get me into this position. One bad bounce here, one dropped pass there, and it's possible none of this would have happened. I'm taking exactly none of it for granted. But should I just keep on winning? More on that in a minute. Because regardless of that answer, there are larger questions about the nature of gambling that have been brewing in my mind for most of my adult life. Professional gambling, especially in the way that I do it, requires an outrageous amount of drive, a pathological level of commitment, and a psychotic degree of attention. I've had times in my life where I thought I was a fundamentally lazy and unfocused person. There's little chance I'll ever think that again. After that devastating Lakers-Knicks game, I took an entire year off, fully distancing myself from everything that I had seemed to base my life around. It was the only option. But then, for a complicated mix of reasons, I started again. I got back in the game in 2018 when New Jersey became the first US state outside of Nevada to officially legalize sports betting. Initially, I was just dabbling, betting $20 at a time, then 50, then 100, then 200. And all the while I was getting better and better. By the start of 2020, I had put together the foundations of an exceptional system, curating my resources, learning from what I had done wrong, and putting together a process to avoid repeating my past mistakes. And then it took off. The pandemic ironically created a perfect storm for me, yielding more free time and simultaneously more opportunity. 2020 was a totally chaotic time with no sports for months, but then sports all day long once they finally did return. There was a nonstop barrage of games to bet on at a time where most of the sports books were brand new and much more beatable than they are now. On top of that, the ongoing turmoil of COVID gave the books far more terrain to cover than they conceivably could have prepared to deal with. In 2021, I made more profit than I had made in my entire traditional working life combined. And then in 2022, I made twice as much as I had made in 2021. There were bumps in the road, of course, but honestly, not even that many. That 3-year stretch consisted of 33 winning months and only 3 losing ones. And for the first half of 2023, the numbers just kept climbing until I decided to stop. So why would someone leave their craft in the midst of their prime? Why would someone stop doing a thing they love to do when they found a way to make a shockingly good living doing it? The short and unfortunate answer is that the game got too hard. For those who have been even just loosely connected to my journey, you've surely heard me talk about limits. It's become a cliche for winning players to complain about it at this point, but it's true nonetheless. So here's essentially what happens. Every sports book has some sort of tracking system, likely all just algorithms at this point, that tries to figure out how good of a bettor each of their customers is. And the more skilled you are, the less money they'll allow you to bet. I've created dozens of sports betting accounts, including states outside of New Jersey, and I'm up against limits at literally all of them. In 2023, it started to become more and more tedious to place large wagers because I couldn't just make big bets at one casino. I'd have to bet smaller amounts at several to reach the bet sizes that I wanted to get to. The extra time needed to make large bets would have probably been worth spending if I was able to keep winning at the same rate. But because many of my bets tended to be time sensitive, needing extra time to place bets directly translated to fewer dollars. On top of that, the sportsbook started fixing most of the glitches that had given me extra opportunities over the past few years, to a point where it took significantly more diligence and attentiveness to accomplish the same outcomes. A lot of my strategies have now become more widely utilized, and because of that, the casinos have made a handful of adjustments to reduce them or even take them away entirely. For people who don't actually win, the decision to quit sports betting should be an easy one. For the average person, sports betting is a waste of time and a waste of money. Sure, there's entertainment value, but that only carries so much weight. In terms of actually being able to win, most people aren't nearly sophisticated or disciplined enough to play the game properly. But even for those of us who are mostly immune to the typical breakdowns in logic and problem solving, the truth is that we can become just as addicted as losing bettors. Addiction in a winning bettor doesn't come with life-destroying events like it does for losing bettors, but it still has significant potential to erode the quality of a person's mind. Personally, I feel as though I'm quite good at fighting this off. I've learned how to take stock in where I am, not let the highs get too high or the lows get too low. But at the same time, sports betting quite literally dominated my life for extended periods of time. I had a whole month, I think December of 2021, where I actually don't think I saw the sun a single day for the whole month because I couldn't leave my computer for more than 30 seconds at a time. I mean, I was having my groceries delivered because I couldn't go outside of my apartment. It was clearly worth it in hindsight, but it also clearly was not sustainable. I'm grateful for so much that I got out of the sports betting endeavor. Aside from the obvious, it sharpened both my problem-solving skills and my mental resolve in a way that was totally unexpected. So, will I ever go back to it? Honestly, I have no idea. Sports betting has been great to me, but the peak version of it has long since disappeared. It's a fine line between knowing when to quit and quitting on your dreams too soon. But at least for now, this feels like the right choice.